Hello everybody, and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons The Second Age.
Hello.
Featuring for a change the full cast.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
shit.
It's been actual literal months.
It has been
It has
literal
literally
It has
months.
been literal months.
Literally months.
All original.
But in game it's only been 3 weeks.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If only that had
He's
been how long it actually
Extremely ginger, and I love it.
Good.
Indeed.
You need to like update your token,
I do.
so it's ginger.
Needs to be nice and autumnal.
Oh yes. We can actually do that, but it'll have to be done during the break. So, does anyone want to tell me what happened last time?
Well,
I know
last
Helena's
time-
back, but she can't actually do it this time.
Yeah, I know. I can't do it.
Don't
Minnie
worry.
has
I've-
taken over
I've
your
got-
role.
Yeah,
I
Um,
heard.
poorly, but I'm trying.
he's doing his best.
Last time we started off just having come back up from the Underdark,
Indeed.
and it was basically our journey back. On our way back, we came back past Reese, I believe his name was.
I believe you're correct, yes.
Well, the weird old man in the swamp, and some lizards had sabotaged stuff, and and he caught one of them. So we figured out what the problem was, and we kind of like tried to make a deal between the two.
Yeah, you attempted to negotiate peace.
Yes. Seemingly successful, but we'll find out one day.
Yes.
After we did that, we stopped by the village of the fallen knights, or, well, supposed knights that we found. He cured his stepsister's disease.
Sister-in-law.
Oh, sister-in-law.
Sister-in-law,
that was
yes.
Yeah.
one. Well, had like a little bit of fun there. And I think that's when we set off to Silverbrook. I don't think we encountered anything along the way.
No, we encountered some wild hunt rangers who shadowed us for a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were suspicious.
Yeah.
What? Why?
Because we didn't give a satisfactory explanation as to why we were there, so they shadowed us for an hour and
Yes.
then left.
Well, mainly just that they had no idea who you were.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah. Really love
After that, we said goodbye to Lefari. Actually, some things happened before that, but we figured out what the files or the books and the writing was we found in Undercommon.
Yes.
Some mysterious things happened between Kelariis and Simone.
Yes.
And we decided to put all the stuff in evidence except for the actual smithing guide, who we ended up giving to Lefari.
Yes. On the condition that she basically made sure that nobody would ever get their hands on it.
Yes.
And I saw Kelariis getting utterly owned by Lethari.
Oh yeah.
All right, look here.
That
Look, it
happens.
was awesome and hilarious.
Yeah.
I kind of saw it coming the second the challenge started.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's almost as if Lethari was designed to beat characters that directly attack people.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, that was after all that was over. We basically said goodbye. It gave Lefari some money, said hi to V, and V was about to explain
Yes.
what had happened.
All of
The
the shit.
the last thing that happened was Kelariis turned to V and said, "So how was it?" And
And
that
Boom was
is where Doomed you all indeed, yes. That is where,
I wouldn't say that.
swap you over, is where we begin today's session.
All right.
So,
Got the shrine.
Time
shall,
for 2 hours of exposition.
Hey.
shall we start with Kelariis asking the question again?
Oh. So, V, how was it in the Grove?
Well, everything went super well. Well, kind of. Mostly in like the past few days. But a lot of it in the start was Buck teaching me how to do stuff, which didn't really work very well because it was mostly a lot of meditating, which is really boring. Have you ever meditated? For like
Every
hours?
night of my life.
No, that's
Does
different.
A lot.
That's different. You have to meditate because you get sleepy.
I'm
This was
sorry.
like meditating even though I wasn't sleepy and I was like I really wanted to like you know when you have to sit still for hours and then your foot gets a little bit itchy but you can't scratch it because you have to sit still.
Imagine that every day for 50 years.
That's
Oh.
what it felt like. But it was only like a week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, Buck told me some cool stuff, and I learned some more magic. But then he tried to teach me like a whole bunch of stuff to help Xanthe. That didn't work very well. So eventually, I just kind of did a thing my own way, and she's cured now.
Good.
What did you do?
Yeah.
I can't really say.
Is it
Oh,
because you
okay.
don't know or understand, or is it because you don't want to tell us?
I want to tell you, but just I'm not
it's a-
allowed to.
Yeah. If it's on the hush, we can keep it on the hush.
Hmm.
So to speak.
Okay. I'm I kind of when we were underneath the grove like a while ago and there was the
Yes.
guy who like exploded, the little skull thing.
Oh, yeah.
Aye.
And you know how in the explosion we all kind of got hurt really badly and then I had this weird vision thing and there was a voice who sounded like my mother but wasn't really my mother because she sounded a little weird. Told me to if I wanted to help someone I could and I chose Arya and then Arya was okay and then I was okay too and it was really weird and strange. Well, I kind of met that person underneath the grove this time.
Oh. Okay.
And I asked her a whole bunch of questions. She said her name was Neanath, which is actually just the name of the grove in general. And she said that she was like she was the grove and she was all of the dryads, all of us who lived there. She is magic, but she's like magic as if it were a person.
Magic personified.
Yeah, like that. And I wasn't allowed to tell anyone that she's there, so no one's
That's
allowed
so
to
you
see
just
anything.
broke down.
No, I didn't. Look, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I want to tell because she told me a whole bunch of stuff that I also want to tell you guys, and it would be really complicated to tell you without telling that somebody else might have told me. So yeah, she said that the way that Buck wanted me to save Xanthe was probably not really gonna work. So she told me that the way that I helped Arya back then was probably also the way to do this, but similar. But I couldn't really do it on my own. I also needed her help. And also, before all of that, while I was meditating, there was a point where this is why I knew that something happened to Arya, because I felt this, I was in the middle of meditating and I felt all of this, like, these prickly, stingy sensations on my skin, and I think I passed out at that point, and everyone was really worried, but, I saw you guys, in a swampy area, or I was on the floor. I think I had like a vision as if I was Arya for a second, because I saw Vondal like running up to me and healing me. And then I was me again, but that happened.
Hmm.
That's really bizarre.
Yeah.
Vondal's like holding his head as if he's getting a bit of a headache from all this.
Look, it's
Just
fine.
sort of,
Anyway,
oh.
Nenaf helped me cure Xanthe, and then I asked her a whole bunch of things. For example, I asked her because apparently she knows like a whole bunch of stuff about all of the dryads because she basically is all of the dryads, and when someone makes like a baby dryad, then the mama dryad takes a part of herself and a part of her partner and takes a part of Neanaf, and then all of those three together basically make a dryad. Like a half dryad, like me. But
And that's how Babias form.
That is how
That is how Baby Dryad is formed.
so technically I suppose I have 3 parents, but there's another thing, because she said that when I was made, there was another something that contributed to who I was. So I actually have 4 parents.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Oh,
But she didn't know who or what that was.
Too many parents.
Is nothing up here normal?
No. Not that I know. Also, yeah. Buck was really confused because I tried not to tell him about Neanaf and stuff. And he said that the way that I cured Xanthe is something only a god should be able to do, or something like that. And I didn't really want to tell him that I had help or anything like that, so he might be very confused. Yeah. And but Neanaf did say that it was mostly me, and that she was just kind of helping me. So I don't know what that's about. I gave her some of my memories, I think, because usually she can see everyone's memories, but not always. Maybe that's because I have that 4th parent thingy. But she saw that we met that cool lady in the Shadowfell. You remember? She was like really pale, and like she had like black hair and like this cool feathery cloak. Neanaf called her the Shadow of Death, which sounds really ominous, but
Yeah, I'd say so.
she was nice. So
Well,
I don't think
she's nice
Neanaf
enough.
meant that in like a bad way. I think it just meant that as in like a, because she did like, she was like blessing people and helping them go to the afterlife. So Neanaf,
Helping them.
because I said that the Shadow of Death essentially told me that I was kind of like her. So Neanaf said that maybe with the way that the Shadow of Death helps people with death, then I should help people with life and stuff like that. I don't know what that means or what my job is supposed to be, but I'm gonna try.
don't guiding people in life.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Well, we've both been on 2 very different but equally rocky journeys then.
She said that the Shadow of Death sometimes, when people shouldn't be dead, she brings them back like to life. And Nainaf said that maybe in the same way, people who come to life but are not deserving of life is something that I should be taking care of. Like Neller and stuff, who forbade people to die. He should not be alive, and maybe that's my job.
So, like a Grim Reaper, but like
It sounds really. Also, that's weird because your name is Grim.
Yes.
true, but that's not the point in this case. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that if I want more answers about stuff like that, and also because if there's a 4th entity who helped my creation, then maybe she also has like 4 parents, and I should ask about that. Or maybe just 3 parents. Anyway, I think that if I can meet her again, that would be cool. And I have heard her when I talked to the tree in or like when I touched a tree in the Elven capital. In the same way that when I held Kelariis' hand and I touched a tree, that I could sort of feel a connection with Kelariis. And Nayanaf said that was called the Bridge of Gaia. It was really special and stuff. So now we also have a name for that, which is fun.
Bridge of Gaia.
Yeah.
Huh.
When I think it's when I feel connected to other people that are not me.
Right. Does that require the tree, or is it just you and a person?
I think the tree kind of helps, but the Shadow of Death just showed me it on her own. So I think stuff like the tree can help, but I don't know.
Do you want to give me a quick intelligence check?
Okay.
I'll make it Arcana.
Sweet.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice.
As far as you're aware, every time you've experienced the phenomenon that Nayanath described as the Bridge of Gaia, you've been in contact with something something that has a strong magical presence to it. So the tree, the shard, the Shadow of Death.
Yeah, I think so. Something that's like really, really strongly magical helps. Maybe.
Oh, interesting, like a conduit or something.
And I also asked Nayanav if she knew anything about my dad, because she has like memories of other dryads, and she said that my dad was like a really, really lonely person, and that my mom kind of helped him feel a little better, or maybe a little less lonely. And then when he left, he was gonna do something that he always wanted to do. And that was kind of it.
Oh, she didn't know what that was.
Yeah, she said she didn't really know his name or anything, but she did know that my mom really liked him, and that that she wanted me to be like him because he was really like compassionate.
Well, I'd say you've got that one covered.
And she also said that Zante's dad was really bad, and Melier thought he was like a lost soul who just needed some guidance, but he was just actually a really bad person.
That's a lot to take in.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a lot
Yeah.
of information.
Yeah, I think I kind of said all of the important stuff.
I just find it super strange that you knew when I passed out.
I mean, it was a weird feeling. It was like yeah. I think it was partially because I was like meditating and only half aware of certain things, and it just kind of took me away from being me for a second.
Seems well, we've been on a physical journey. You've been on quite the mental journey.
I mean, it was a physical journey too. I did a lot of like training and stuff. Look, I even have some muscles. There are no muscles.
I was gonna say, does she?
No.
You certainly built up a little.
You did spend a lot of time lifting rocks, but it wasn't with your strength.
Yep.
But humour, it's fine.
I will point out, by the way, Nayanath did mention something else about the visions that you had of Arya.
Fuck.
What
You
else?
did. I haven't written it down.
Oh, I
Dang
know
it.
why.
Oh, she she said that when what happened below the grove happened, you now have a link to destiny.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
That's a little important.
Hmm.
And I
it's-
was like, is it a link destiny as in like fighting bad guys? And she was like, I don't know.
That is.
She knows you're supposed to do something together, but she has no idea what that is.
Great.
Yeah.
It's certainly something for higher beings to know and us to find out.
Yeah, securing Xanthe was also really cool because she just kind of Leonov was kind of like there, but she was like trying to pretend to be a tree like the first time we met her. And I just kind of placed Xanthe underneath her, and Xanthe had no idea what was going on, but it was fine. And I just kind of held Xanthe, and then I focused really hard, and I thought about the way I felt when I helped Arya, and I saw like all of the little lights that were Xanthe, and I saw one bad thing, and I just took it, and then just together with Nenaf, I just like ripped it apart, and now it's no longer existing.
Okay.
Well, that's pretty.
Was
Mission successful.
Yeah,
Oh.
this is the part that I couldn't tell Buck, and now he's very confused.
Well, even with the extra information, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Oh,
So yeah, and I gave my family all the little souvenirs that I had and stuff. Everyone thought it was really cool.
Oh,
I found I planted those little seeds that I found in the Feywild, so hopefully those will grow.
oh, nice. Oh. Wait. Well, I guess at least you figured it all out.
I think so. I mean, there's also a lot of other stuff to figure out still. So
Yeah, you definitely feel like you left with more questions than you had when you got there, but
I have some answers. Some.
Still progress.
yeah, you've answered all the questions you came with.
Yeah.
It's always
think-
nice to refresh your questions.
I think that I also want to kind of keep adventuring with you guys because it's nice to see the world, and I have some other stuff that I want to find out. So I hope it's okay if I still tag along.
Of course.
well, clearly
there's-
we're meant to
Of
be together,
course.
so.
Yay!
There is still much to see after all.
Yeah, besides, we could use someone like you.
And we miss your AoEs.
You say that in character.
Pretty much, yeah.
What's
in a
an
way that
AoE?
makes sense. what does that mean?
What
Give
is
us
this
your
thing you
badges.
call?
What's an aimbot?
AOE?
Jeez.
An aimbot.
God.
We need to get Arya an aimbot.
One day.
One day. That's a lie. It's never gonna happen.
I know. We can dream.
Cries.
Gonna miss everything. Except for the things you don't want to hit.
Yep.
So where are
Forever gonna
we
be
going?
killing those tiny skeletons and not killing the big things.
Where do you guys want to go? Is Lily still here, by the way?
You when you walked up to your companions, you have no idea where Lily went. They were still shapeshifted and just wandered off. You have no
Okay.
idea where they've gone.
Fucking see ya, Lily, I guess.
But the question you pose, I suppose, is our next question to think about. We basically just got back.
Well, I guess we only have one. Well, we only have one clear goal. 'Cause-
Yeah, I mean, I've got something in mind if nobody else has any more pressing matters to attend to.
It is what I was thinking of.
Yeah, that third artifact seems to be. It's the only lead we have to anything.
Yes, and I would like to I'd like to find it as soon as possible. It was kind of what I set out to do.
Be a useful thing to see the world as well.
Maybe I'll just
Is-
lie out there somewhere. It'll be really easy. I hope we don't have to do things like with the second artifact again. That was really hard. Everyone's really mad at each other.
I don't know. I just know it's, well, the last place I heard of it being is very far down south, or down south.
We'll just have to find out when we get there.
Yes, you have a city name and a rough general location of that city,
Yeah.
and you know it was in the possession of one person in that city.
But that was also like a while ago, right?
That was a
Wasn't
long
that
time
person's
ago.
possession?
Yes, that was
Yeah,
a couple of hundred
so-
years ago.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the person was a human, so like she's definitely not alive anymore.
Yes.
Or shouldn't be at least.
Wasn't it like with her like memorial or something?
Give me just a moment, and I will tell you.
I'm trying to find my notes as well. This is a struggle.
Well, I have the entire timeline, so.
Well, shit.
I remember the timeline.
Timeline. In the year 386, Jasmine Bashar died and was entombed somewhere beneath Mardan as a hero. It is now the year 817.
Fucking hell.
So, yeah. Almost 400 years ago. No, over 400 years ago.
Though entombed as a hero sounds like, well, there's a pretty high chance it's still there.
Well,
That's the best lead I've got, so.
But of course it will make obtaining it for ourselves much harder.
it's at least like somewhere to start.
It is indeed.
Like if anything's happened to you, it's probably easier to find out there than anywhere else.
Though it is a long way to go.
Yes.
Yeah, we got time.
But I hope no one's seasick.
Well, considering, I guess next thing to do would be planning out our way there. It's gonna take a while to get there, and I don't think we're gonna do it all on foot, or well, by horse. Was that a few stops at least?
Yeah.
That is a very good idea.
I don't really have that many like rations on me.
We can
Yeah.
pick some up, probably.
We'll pick up more.
Yeah. Also, Arya, you've got something you should probably do before you leave.
Wait, what?
You can't seriously
Yep.
not
You-
know this.
You feel a dull ache in your spirit.
Oh!
Oh, God.
my god!
God's sake.
Oh, I feel so bad! Yes.
Why are
There
you
was
so-
Lyra!
I'm so sorry! Lyra, I love you!
Oh yeah, Lyra's not been here this whole time.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It's because I wasn't looking. We're not in the battle map, and I didn't see her token, and I just forgot. I feel bad.
I didn't even know that she
You
was
are
here.
No, you didn't know.
So good at forgetting Lyra.
You'll have to answer these questions about what happened to her.
I mean, she died.
No! Did Sound appear again?
Nah, sort of. She was like, I can like feel her spirit, but I mean, we haven't like talked.
She disappeared into a golden light, unlike last time
Yeah.
when she became a spirit, because there's not enough magic to sustain her
Yeah.
as a spirit.
Well, okay. So how are we gonna get south? I don't really know anything about anything that's not forest.
That's an
Well,
excellent question, Ferrous.
Well,
I think we
Well-
should find a map. We should probably get our hands on a map and try and plan out a route.
yes. Well, I don't have a full map of the journey for you guys, but if you guys want to take some time, Arya, you need, I think it's 8 hours and 50 gold to resummon Lyra.
Yeah.
So I won't. Time right now is going to be sort of fairly flexible, so if you want to go and do that, then mark 50 gold off your sheet and you do that. V, if you want to get some provisions, you can do that. And
Probably I'll do that, honestly.
yes, so Kelariis, from your memories of the journey, basically between if you head as far south as you can remember from head as far south from the forest, you can get to Hatcher's Cross, and then from Hatcher's Cross you can move west. There's a number of small hamlets between you and basically the next major destination, which is a town called Ivywood Market.
Jesus.
Which is about a week's travel from the coast, and it will probably take you just about a week to get there on horseback anyway. So it's basically 2 weeks to the coast, and then when you get to the coast, you didn't go there, but there is a port town on the far west coast that you know of that runs regular shipping routes. That basically it takes 2 weeks to get down to another village, a small fishing town that is in properly in sort of like Dragonborn territory, from which it is only about half a day's ride back to your village.
Okay.
And then from if you plan from going from the fishing village or your town, or from your home village or from the town, fishing town, or port town more accurately, you know that if you ride east again, it'll take you probably just under a week to get to the edge of the desert, and then once you ride into the desert, it's probably another couple of days to get to the beginnings of human civilization, and Mardan is basically like on the very western edge of the southern human empire, a couple of days' ride from the border of Dragonborn territory. So essentially just over a month to get to your location.
Boy. That is a
Boy,
long
howdy.
ass time.
Let's buy a month's worth of food.
No, not one go. We can
Or don't, or just plan for going to the towns. So you need to buy a week's worth of food now, a week's worth of food when you get to that town, and then you'll be on a boat for 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, I have a question. Well, I have a couple questions, more so.
Go right ahead.
Ivywood Market is still in human or elfin lands?
It is human territory.
Okay, that's human.
It is basically essentially there is a border checkpoint that is between like on a main road between human and Dragonborn towns, because the port town used to be a human town, but it was part of the thing that was conquered in the most recent push into territory.
Okay.
And it basically it is in Dragonborn territory, but it is still a mostly human place. Ivywood Market is a day's travel from the border. 2 days travel from the border checkpoint. But it is the biggest town between there and the coast, so it's probably the best spot to go to aim for to get supplies, because it's also on the main road between here and the coast.
Okay.
So it is still in human territory, to answer your initial question.
Okay, and the other thing was the route that you explained from there to the coast, and then to the fishing village and stuff. how many big towns does that pass through in Dragonborn Land?
If you're going on foot, a couple. If you're going by sea, basically you'll just sail down the coast until you get there.
Okay.
There are a couple of towns on the coast down, but you know that there are like direct routes that go from point A to point B. So it depends whether you want to go via coast or on foot. If you go on foot, it will take you slightly longer because the terrain is rougher, but
Right.
by sea it's faster. And you're also you suspect that if you go by sea, you're also less likely to attract attention as
Yeah,
a traveling
that was-
group.
Yeah, okay.
Mm.
I like the sound of that. Okay. I relate all this information to everybody else. Because I don't want to repeat all of that, that's a lot.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm assuming like that this is all just like shared information that you communicate.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't that sound fun?
Yes, it is quite a long journey. So if you have to say any goodbyes, now is a good time to say them.
Yeah.
Where's my OTP?
Or write any letters.
Ah,
Yeah, also, if you want to write any letters to people, now is a good time to send them because you're basically in the middle, like equidistant from like all of your families right now.
that is a very good call.
I guess I'll write home to my family.
Sure.
Let's write a letter.
I mean, your family's in the fucking Feywild.
Yeah, they'll get it.
So, I'm sure there's some way of getting.
There
mail.
there are interplanar postmen
And like of all places, this should be the easiest place to
Yeah, for
get
to
real.
get something to the Feywild.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get us into the Feywild from down there.
You should include some money for your family.
I should. That would be nice.
Send them 100 gold.
Good, actually.
It wouldn't even be that much for you, God.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be that much for them, and it'd mean the fucking world to them.
Taking care of a baby.
Yeah.
My little baby brother.
Baby could
So,
have fun.
so we decided we're buying a week's worth of food to get us to.
To the next town, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it up to 8 because it makes it easier.
Well, we should always have like 2 or 3 days extra.
Yeah.
So we'll just like buy up to 10.
It's like
Yeah.
1 gold is like 2 rations, right?
1 gold is 2 rations, yeah.
So I'll add 6.
Should
But yes, so you spend the majority of your day in, or the rest of your day in Silverbrook, buying supplies, talking about routes, and Arya, you go off and perform the ritual that you need to do to resummon Lyra, and Arya comes back with Lyra.
Yay!
Yay!
Ooh.
And now you can reunite with Lyra too. Helena.
Yeah, give Lyra
Yeah.
a hug. Or like
Aw.
a pat.
She's probably like, what?
Lyra, like, seems to be sort of getting used to this and actually is sort of beginning to, like, slightly appreciate being loved by V, so...
Yes!
Aww,
Murder.
that's cute.
Yes!
Wait, can Lyra feel this weird link? I never asked this, but can Lyra? I feel like she can, right? Because when we
Oh,
were
no,
in,
you
like,
you did talk about this. She...
Yeah.
She can feel that there is something different about you, but she doesn't feel the same bond between
Okay.
her and V.
It's gonna be
Gotcha.
so hard sending letters to my family because I'd have to send it to Silverbrook, and then someone would have to send it from Silverbrook to my grove.
We're in Silverbrook.
Yeah,
Well-
but I'd have to like ask Simone or something. I don't want to bother Simone all the time because I'm sure she has like super important stuff to do. I'll try to
Oh.
send letters when it's important.
You don't think going almost a month away is important?
I mean, they know I'm gone. I already left the grove.
Yeah, they know V has gone travelling, so...
Fair enough.
Can I send my family some money, Rob?
Yeah.
Awesome.
You can all do that if you want.
I would, but
I
Yeah.
don't know if they need money.
Yeah. I'm not sure what use they'd have for it, but yeah, you definitely could.
Also, I think Vondal's mom's probably got plenty of it. Honestly, yeah.
you never know. How long has it been?
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
It's been a long ass time.
And I mean, by the time a letter gets to them, I might just be there anyway, so...
That's true.
Yeah, you're gonna basically be moving at the same pace as a letter,
Yeah.
Kelariis. So.
May as well carry my own damn letter.
Yeah, we're meeting everyone's parents, slowly but surely.
I know. I love it.
Me and
Backstory.
Grim will get our turn eventually.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't know if I mentioned that to them right away. I think because
I mean,
Kelariis is
you
actually
don't have
super
to say
nervous
it.
about going back. No, she's super nervous about going back to Dragonborn lands and doesn't even think to mention, oh yeah, that village is my home.
Yeah.
She'll probably think of it on
Well, it-
like on the ocean.
Yeah, like
traveling there.
because you don't even mention like the because you mention the fishing the port town.
Mhm.
You don't like you think to yourself like that's the port town that's like a day's travel away from my family, but you don't say that.
Yeah.
I would like to send my family 50 gold, please.
Then deduct 50 gold, and you can either write a letter or not, and it's entirely up to you.
Okay.
I mean, I will assume that you write a letter in character, whatever you do. But
Yeah.
if you want to write it for
I'm
roleplay
just-
reasons,
I'm
that's
gonna
a,
send them 50 gold.
no,
anonymously
no
as well.
words.
Yeah.
You know, just a muddy paw print
Yes.
from Lyra.
Oh my god.
get Lyra to dip her paw in ink and she can sign it as well.
God, she'd be so mad, I'd imagine.
She'd be like, "What the fuck is on my paw?"
yeah.
Don't lick it.
What the fuck
Oh,
are you doing to
no.
me?
Don't lick your paw. Go wash it in a stream. Yeah, fuck it.
It's like that face that dogs pull when you take their collar off and they're like, "What are you doing? Stop!"
Ah! My whole identity is compromised.
Yeah.
I don't even know who I am anymore.
What is my name? I'll probably send 50 gold as well, honestly, and then let it.
Who's a good boy?
Probably
That's a
another
very
formal
good
letter, though.
question.
I don't even know anymore. Good. 50 gold for the family back home.
Sure, yeah. Deduct as much gold as you like, and you can send it home. And just make a mental note that you did that, or make a physical note that you did that if you're not very good at remembering.
Like me.
I should make more notes.
I'll just a letter maybe, and that's it.
Do y'all
Mhm.
want to see my notes for this session? Because it's great.
Sure.
I mean, Grim, you know that your parents are like pretty well off, to be
Yeah,
honest
like-
with you.
I'm not concerned. Otherwise, I wouldn't have left it.
I mean, your parents literally own like real estate property, so
I guess that's true.
they have a tavern like in the middle of a city.
Look, that's the kind of thing you don't really think about when you grow up there.
Yeah.
How valuable that is.
Phew.
Right.
I love the description.
Yeehaw, I guess.
Yeehaw, I guess.
So yeah, that was my notes, guys.
Spot the
Beautiful.
Overwatch reference.
What?
Spot the Overwatch reference.
Oh yeah. I was like, there was an Overwatch reference. Of course there was.
It's you fuckers. Of course, there's an Overwatch
Oh, yeah.
reference.
I like to
Took
just
me-
Somewhere.
really should contact her at some point.
Phew.
Right. So, you all get done what you want to get done. And it's late evening by the time you're sort of all ready. At which point, I presume you're all in the tavern, sort of meeting up after you've done all your preparations.
Getting hyped for our road trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, long road trip.
It is at this point that a familiar figure in green druid's robes walks into the tavern. And Lily is there.
Give them a wave.
Hi,
Yeah.
Lily.
Yeah, Lily sort of like waves and bounds over to you guys, says hi, like asks how you're all doing. It just generally sort of you talk about like what's happened to you. I'll save you the talking about it because you've already done it once. And yeah, essentially, Lily turns to you, V, and says, "Right, well, I'm getting ready to go back then, I guess. So,
Good luck with the meditating.
they smile and sort of there's like a well, it is what it is sort of look. But yeah, they give you a big hug, and then they sort of prepare to set out.
Pet nugget for me.
Lily nods. Oh yeah, Lily will probably relate how Nugget is getting on to Kelariis as well.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'll have to keep
She's
hanging
getting
about
told
cat
off because she like sleeps in laundry baskets and stuff.
Oh,
That's so cute.
Yeah. And knocking things off tables, we decided.
oh, good.
Yep. Classic cat things.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
this is like peak cat behavior.
As it should be.
Cat 101.
Yeah.
Knock
Knock
Sleep
it
in
off.
laundry,
Shit
knock
off
important
tables.
things off tables.
Step 2. Chase things that aren't meant to be chased.
Or just
Ignore
chase
the
things that don't
mouse.
exist.
Yeah, that's true.
Ignore the fake colourful mouse that was bought specifically for you. No, chase that ball of tinfoil that got accidentally dropped while they were cooking.
Oh, God.
Savage shoelaces for no apparent reason.
Or just eat flip flops.
Stare at walls in the middle of the night while owner is watching scary movies.
Sharpen claws on corners of carpets or sides of couches. Not on designated scratching post.
Yes.
Cats, man.
Try
Like
to fit
swipe
into
at
small.
people's feet when they're sleeping on the couch.
Yeah.
Climb on top of wardrobes even when there's a tiny gap between the wardrobe and the ceiling.
Or sometimes just like jump randomly on your owner. Or jump across your owner and scare the shit out.
Maybe occasionally see that they're reading something important and just sleep on what they're reading.
Yep. Or like walk across keyboards.
That's what they have.
Anyway. So yeah, Lily bids their goodbyes and heads off back to the druid circle.
Hi, Lily. We love
Bye,
you.
Lily.
We love you.
Take care.
Okay.
Silly character.
Anyway. So yeah, you guys are left with the rest of the evening to do whatever it is that you want to do. And if not, then I guess you just set out.
Well,
We
I
should
guess,
probably find Bilren and Simone and tell them we're leaving again.
yeah.
Unless that happened earlier. I'm not sure if that was included in the earlier.
No, not necessarily.
And we're fine.
Yeah,
Plus the less
well, you know from you know from the other day that they are currently engaged in sort of like other business. Well, Simone with the business that you told her about, and Ilaran with whatever it was that he was doing for Lord Silverbrook when you interrupted him. But yeah, you managed to find the two of them like late in the evening. They're probably both in the barracks, enjoying food. And yeah, you can basically be like, tell them that you're going, and Simone will be like, okay, thank you for like coming up with everything that you came up with. Is there anything else you just sort of want to talk about, or is that it?
Nope.
Probably look at Simone and just say, be careful with what you're doing. That's all.
Somebody returns to you and just sort of says, I would say the same to you, but having travelled with you, I question the wisdom of repeating myself.
That's about 2 people in this room right now. I just being careful. And one of them is you.
Wait, what?
just in my head, just Grim just nodding like, huh? Wait, what?
What?
Grim's zoned out. He's looking at Arya's ass.
Excuse me?
Anyway,
Not this again.
Terrible.
so
I can't believe we've come back to this.
It always comes back to this in the end.
always comes back to this in the end. Okay, so with that, you said all your goodbyes, and you make ready to head out the next morning. If anybody has not taken a long rest recently, restore yourself to long rest status. Yeah, and with that, I guess you begin on your journey.
What an epic journey it is.
So, I'm not going to dictate every single day of travel to you, so I'm going to tell you the important events that happen between you guys leaving Silverbrook and arriving at Ivywood Market.
Shit, that was quick.
Well, it hasn't happened yet. I'm going to tell you the important details, and then we're going to play the scene. Because there is a very important event that happens between there and then.
Oh.
And that is primarily on your... about halfway through your... actually, no, probably towards the end of your first day of travel. Just as you are about to break the border of the forest, you run into some individuals. I already need a different music track.
Oh, wow, that was fast.
Yeah, I forgot that this...
Swing.
Goodbye, traveling music.
I forgot that
Bye.
this... this is a thing already.
Everyone say goodbye to the magic drumstick.
What?
What?
That is
oh,
a
On the
feather.
picture.
Oh.
I
yeah.
just giving you shit, Cav. I appreciate your feather.
Hey, you didn't do any better.
I really
For
didn't.
fuck's sake.
So you can't talk. If you'd drawn a decent feather, then maybe.
There's still the spine of one attempt at a feather just floating.
there?
Yeah.
Rocks to the left. Yeah.
Oh
This will do,
no.
I guess.
Just there.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh, it's gone now.
Oh god.
Okay.
yeah.
Bye.
So,
Goodbye, feather.
as you approach the border to the forest, you see that the road in front of you is blocked. Standing in front of you is a herd. I guess I'll call it a crowd. A crowd of somewhere around 15 to 20 centaurs.
Oh, wow.
And as they spot you, they fan out into a small semicircle, and in the middle of their semicircle, you see a familiar centaur wearing resplendent gold armor with the insignia
Don't
of a
take
sun,
my bow from me.
Just
No,
fucking
I-
die.
accompanying a tall figure in a heavy robe, whose face is concealed by a large hood.
They're gonna take my bow from me, guys.
I know.
No. My bow.
So what do you guys do?
Well, I guess I would. Oh no, I have seen them.
Yeah, you met them during the incident with Cobweb.
Yes. Well, I guess we greet them.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not hostile.
Yeah. The centaur paladin sort of like rides towards you. You sort of raise your hand in greeting. He raises his hand. Before basically he produces a scroll with a like as he unfurls it, you can see it's got like a large insignia on the back. And in a raised voice, he proclaims, "Let all present show reverence for the Lady Hannah," before turning towards the figure who is sort of like stepping forward and removing her hood. And as she removes this hood, all of the centaurs in a semicircle around bow down and avert their eyes from the woman.
Oh.
How do the rest of you react to this?
I guess we just like sort of like bows as well a little bit, but like it's more like a head nod.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same.
Yeah.
Vondal will do a bow.
Okay.
I'll also do a bow.
Okay. So you all do a short bow. As you sort of look up from your bows, the woman has fully removed this hood, and to your surprise, the figure in front of you almost resembles Arya. She's got very, very sharp, elegant features, pale skin, and deep blue markings that crisscross her face. Her auburn hair is formed into braids adorned with wildflowers, and her fingers bear a set of mithril rings containing small, perfect stones. However, the most striking feature about this woman, however, is her eyes, as they are pure white with no trace of any iris or pupil. And as she steps towards you, she says, in a very light voice, that as you hear it, it almost instantly makes you feel more at ease around this woman. And she smiles at you all with a very thin sort of reverential smile, and sort of says, "Warmest greetings, friends and allies. I am Lady Hannah, favoured daughter of Melora and emissary to the Summer Court."
Fuck.
She's a daughter of Laura.
The end of her sentence is somewhat rudely interrupted with a loud yawn from Lyra, who promptly sits down and begins to scratch.
Speaking of
V, you notice as a flicker of mild irritation crosses the woman's face, but is quickly replaced again with the thin smile.
oh my god, yeah.
No!
Yeah, it's got some sass.
Oh god!
Amazing.
Children of deities everywhere today.
Something tells you that Lyra doesn't hold a very high opinion of this woman.
God, I wonder what that could be.
Oh, I'm so ready for Lyra to spill the tea on this bitch.
She doesn't have any tea to
God.
spill, she can't tell us.
I know.
She
She
can
can
tell
tell
Arya.
me.
You tell me
And
too.
you.
So,
Yeah,
how do you guys respond to being introduced like this?
I guess I introduce myself and say, "What brings you here
On this fine day.
on this fine day? This fine
She's
autumn
speaking
day."
Common, by the way.
She addresses you in common, yes.
Oh, okay.
That is convenient.
It's good to know.
yep, we all know what she says.
Yes. Believe it or not, she actually speaks every language that you guys speak.
I mean, I only speak Elvish, Sylvan, and Common, which I would assume she would speak as well. So.
Yes. Well, she literally speaks every language, so.
Oh.
Yep.
Also, you don't only speak Elvish, so
Yeah, you-
you know Abyssal.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
you-
I can
Yeah.
feel this.
Don't forget Abyssal.
But yeah, she turns to you, Arya, and says, "I come seeking you, in fact, champion.
She's gonna take my bow away.
You embarked upon a brave mission, and to aid you in that task, you were gifted a boon. However, the time has come where I must ask for my weapon to be returned to me.
Christ.
I don't know if you got that. It's her weapon.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time has come where I must ask for my weapon to be returned to me. Matters in the Fey Courts have become somewhat unsettled of late, and I fear that the time for peaceful resolution may have passed.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
Fucking Faye.
Of course, I will gladly give you back your weapon.
So you-
Gladly isn't
Yeah.
overstatement.
You remove the bow and pass it to her, and you notice that as she reaches out to you, much like when you speak the command word, the bow begins to sort of glow, and as she takes it from you, it becomes it turns into its full radiant state as she holds it, and instead of sheathing it on her back or placing it with the rest of her belongings, she merely holds it up into the air and it just disappears.
Extra.
God, that's so extra.
Just a little
Yeah.
bit.
And yeah, it just disappears into radiant light and it's gone.
Standard.
Yep. Classic elf move. Well,
Classic
Fae
god
move. Yeah. Is she full god?
Divine being.
Surely she's demigod.
Yeah, because she's a...
You don't know the answer to that.
I'm gonna have to ask Lyra about this.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this conversation with Lyra.
Yeah, she turns to you and says, "Thank you. Your I guess. Okay, so she says your efforts have not gone unnoticed. You have done a great deal for the denizens of this forest, and whilst I am aware that your task is not yet complete, you may rest assured that your deeds have been noted."
I'm glad to be of service to Melora.
There is from Lyra, there's just a.
Lyra, please! Jesus, Lyra! Why are you like this?
So, does anybody else say anything?
Probably not.
What's happening in the
No.
Feywild then?
Okay, she turns to UV as you voice this question and says, the state of the Fey courts is somewhat uncertain at this time. Certain members of the Winter Court have voiced some displeasure at the way that members of the Summer Court have handled ongoing issues. On top of that, one of the political enemies of the Lady Titania, whom I am emissary to, has been certain political opponents of my Lady Titania have voiced concern that another staunch member of the opposition has been killed under suspicious circumstances.
Oh, shit!
Fuck.
Shit.
Her opponents are attempting to suggest that the Lady Titania had this individual assassinated, but the facts don't quite match up with what we know. Suffice it to say, that has caused enough unrest in the Summer Court that certain measures have had to be brought into place, and it is these measures that set my position as emissary as somewhat tenuous.
Okay, great.
Good luck.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be
I'm trying.
Keep those
He's
lips
not
sealed.
good at not being suspicious.
Okay.
Don't
Okay.
roll that fucking dice.
Does anybody else say anything?
Nope.
After a moment of silence, she says, "If that is all, then I will take my leave."
Bye, Dawn's Light. I'll miss you.
No more
She
slightly edgy Sailor Moon-esque dialogue.
she
No more magical attacks.
she turns away and steps off the path with the accompaniment of the centaurs, who sort of like regroup around her to form like a perimeter. Yeah, and after a while they disappear off into the forest.
Well, just leaves it a couple of minutes. Vondal goes, oh, "This is why I didn't want to get involved."
Can I just look at Lyra and be like, what was with that?
I still feel like we didn't do a bad thing by.
I mean, she was clearly being evil, right?
Yeah.
I think we did the right thing.
And also, she kind of wanted to, like, I don't know, have us.
Also, she was
I guess.
directly threatening my family's well-being, and like, this doesn't fly. Well, not directly, but you know what I mean, like, her
I mean,
actions.
also she wanted to take advantage of other people, and that's not okay at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, in response to your look, Arya, Lyra just gives you a sort of a responsive reaction that, through your linked sense, basically translates to "siblings, I'll explain later."
Okay.
Yep. Anytime you see two siblings getting along, it's all an act. Secretly, they hate each other's guts.
I find it hilarious that if Hannah is a demigod as well, fucking here's Lyra walking around in the woods with some random ass elf, and there's Hannah like this parade of royal
ass.
centaurs.
Right?
Also, I don't really think you're a random ass elf.
Well, I was
Yep.
originally.
You were originally, but
Now I'm not, but I definitely was when I found Lyra.
yeah.
Yeah, you were literally the person who saved her from monsters. So
Yeah, that's still not that random.
It is a little.
I mean, it's more random than like an entire guard of centaurs following you around.
yes, you get the suspicion that whoever Lady Hannah's second parent was, they are significantly more powerful than whoever Lyra's second parent was.
Oh well.
Well, I guess you can remove Dawn's Light from my inventory now.
Do you have a spare bow?
Yeah,
Yes,
I do.
she does. She has her original bow.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because when you get given
No,
a
I
bow
never got rid of
temporarily,
the,
you don't get rid of your old one.
I never got rid of the.
Do you actually have an Do you actually have an entry for it? Because I don't see it.
I
No,
meant
'cause
under my...
Yeah,
Yeah, because
you do have it, but
When I roll
we edited Dawn's Light's entry, so there's no weapon entry for it. So I actually need to just I need to delete Dawn's Light. And then
my
just
longbow
re-add
isn't
it.
actually in my weapons list anymore.
Yes, no, because we edited the entry
Oh,
for Dawn's
right.
Light.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, I just need to delete it twice and then re-add it as. There you go, it's back in. You can drag it around to put it back in the right place. Okay, so you unhook your trusty longbow that was given to you all of those years ago.
And cry sadly about the loss of Dawn's Light.
I don't. We'll find you a new one.
We'll find you another god weapon.
We'll find you another
That'll be
magical
one
bow
day.
that doesn't require you to have an edgy Sailor Moon transformation sequence.
Yeah.
I mean, Kelariis is practically overflowing with them.
Wow.
True.
But maybe you can
Live.
borrow one day.
I don't think Tritherion would appreciate that.
Well,
I mean,
depends
I
on
think
how
there
they're
are worse
used.
things that could happen to them.
Probably, yeah.
Like, I'm sure he wouldn't be that upset.
I mean, worse things did
Yeah.
happen to them.
Well, yeah, so...
One of them was literally resting in a vault of evil for like
Yeah, that
years.
wasn't great. I still think about those wisdom saving throws sometimes.
Yeah, they haunt
much I
me at
hated them.
night. So, you presumably carry on along your journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's not much we can do.
Cool. So you get to the end of the day. I presume, Arya, you want to have a conversation in private with Lyra.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
love to know what the hell is up with that.
So, shall we go and have a private conversation?
Oh, I get a private room. Hello.
Hello. So, you sit down with Lyra that evening after everyone has sort of gone to sleep. What do you say?
So, what was up with your reaction to Hannah this afternoon? You seemed a little bit less than friendly.
Lyra sort of she doesn't look at you for a little while, and then there's sort of an exchange of conversation emotion that basically says she and I disagree greatly on the way our mother would want us to act on our ideas.
How so?
Well, you saw her. She
Yes.
believes that our role as children of Melora is to meddle in the way that the other races do things. Whereas Mother was very much opposed to that. She was all for letting people live their lives as they saw fit. That's why she took the Wood Elves away from Corellan in the first place.
Is she also a demigod as well?
Yes.
I'm assuming different fathers. I don't know how this thing works exactly, but
Yes, we
have a
are.
father?
I would assume so.
Okay, just making sure.
I do not know who Hannah's father is. I do not even know who mine is. I recall only wandering the Feywild as a spirit and learning my own powers until I could create a body for myself. And this was the one that I chose. Hannah was significantly more powerful than I. There is a word for it in Elvish. She is what is the word? She's a deva.
A diva.
No, a deva.
A deva.
D-E-V-A. She is akin to almost like an angel.
Oh.
She holds a significant amount more of our mother's power than I do.
I see.
And I suppose the polite way to put it is that it has gone to her head.
Ah. Yes, well, she seemed quite sure of herself this afternoon. I'm a little. I have to say, as much as I know that Dawn's light is her bow, I'm a little wary of what she's gonna do. the fake hordes.
I do not think she will take one side over the other. I think Mother would interfere before that happened.
Yeah. Politics.
Indeed.
Trying to think if there's anything else I want to ask. I don't think so.
If there isn't anything else, then
No,
that's
I
in the
think I'm
scene.
good.
But- okay, cool. We'll go back.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a tattoo.
Oh,
Oh,
We're back.
Oh. Hello, back. I'm front.
Cool.
oh fuck
God.
you!
Stop! I'm sorry.
And with that, Vondal died in the night.
Oh
No.
Revivify, quick!
Wait,
yeah, I can do that
also
now.
Mother can cast that shit.
no! Do that now.
Bollocks.
Oh, wait,
Anyway.
did Kelariis cast it?
Body
Yeah,
class.
I
Kelariis
can do
can
it now,
cast it.
'cause I have level 3 spell slots.
Nice.
Okay. So, the next morning you awake, and with that, we're going to take a brief break so that I can get some water.
Break time.
Oh, okay.